Welcome to the Humane Society of Missouri Second Chances Telethon. I'm Virginia Kerr.
And I'm Jasmine Huda. 2012 was a remarkable year for the Humane Society of Missouri. Thanks to your support, they were able to rescue, rehabilitate, and give second chances to thousands of animals in need.
During this broadcast, we'll bring you incredible stories about some animals who are very special to the Humane Society of Missouri.
Animals like Trooper, whose rescue made international headlines after he was dragged behind a truck for more than a mile.
And Sunny, a boxer puppy who was found badly burned. He spent more than 3 months recovering at the Humane Society before finding his loving forever home.
You'll hear stories of animals rescued from disaster, of horses saved from certain death, and of pets that have inspired their owners to take a stand against animal cruelty. We'll give you a closer look at the many services the Humane Society of Missouri offers. And you may also see some of your own pets thanks to the photos and videos submitted through the Humane Society's Facebook and Twitter pages.
We're joined now by Humane Society of Missouri President Kathy Warnick, and she has a very special announcement for all of you out there watching.
Hi, Jasmine and Virginia. We are just thrilled to have you here telling these stories for the Humane Society of Missouri. I'm very excited to announce that just for this program, our wonderful friends at Scottrade have generously agreed to match all donations up to $25,000. Call our toll-free number or make a secure donation online at any time during the telethon, and it will count double. Your gift will go twice as far and help twice as many animals in need. We hope everyone out there will give what they can to make a difference in the lives of the many animals we help. Every day, so many abused and neglected dogs, cats, critters, horses, and farm animals come to our doors. All they want is love and a caring home. We help heal them and find them the forever homes they deserve. Because of our generous donors and sponsors, we make these second chances happen every day.
Thank you so much, Kathy, and thank you, Scottrade, for matching donations made during this broadcast.
Thanks very much to our generous Second Chances Telethon sponsors, Scottrade, Purina One Beyond, HeartGuard Plus, and Frontline Plus. Please support the products and services of these generous companies who are helping abused and homeless animals every day.
Our first story is about a dog who is very special to everyone at the Humane Society of Missouri. Trooper, an adorable puppy, was rescued by the Humane Society's Animal Cruelty Task Force in November of 2012. His story made national headlines after he was tied to the back of a pickup truck and dragged for more than a mile. Trooper's injuries were horrific, and his survival was nothing short of a miracle.
I had received a call from our dispatchers that St. Louis City Police Department had contacted us to let us know that a driver was driving down Highway 55 with a small puppy being drugged behind his truck. To see this puppy, it broke my heart to think that this could happen. The first call I made was to my director to relay to the veterinarian what I had seen. That, I let him know that you could see bone, you could see muscle tissue and tendon. At that time there was a lot of blood loss, but I did let them know he was still awake and alert, that he had not been knocked unconscious. And at that point it was, get him there as quickly as possible. And the exam room staff, as they always do, immediately stepped into action, and when I got to the facility in Maryland Heights, they were prepared for exactly what I brought them.
Trooper was in shock and very weak. He had numerous exposed injuries, deep injuries, and we had to make a decision on him. Could he be treated and have a good recovery, or would it have been more humane to have put him down at that point in time?
When Trooper first came in, of course, it was all about assessing his current medical condition, the depth of the injuries, the various traumas that he suffered, what his current vital signs were. I mean, it really was life and death in those first few days.
My first gut feeling regarding Trooper was wanted to see how he would do with shock treatment. We would know very quickly if Trooper was, going to come out of it or not, because at least on initial assessment, Trooper had no internal injuries to his heart, lungs, or internal organs. He had mostly injuries to his skin, muscles, joints, things that can be treated with given enough time and effort. And so we started treating Trooper for his shock, and he started coming out of shock in a reasonable amount of time. And the decision was made to, at that point, get further wound care on him and send him over to a different department where they could put him under some anesthesia since he had come out of shock, and get him top-notch care on treating those wounds to try and prevent infection.
The investigation into Trooper's case started from our first arrival on the scene. And we basically had two investigators divide duties at that point. One rushed Trooper to medical care, intensive medical care. The other one was on the scene from that very moment, started collecting information, interviews, leads. You take pictures at the scene. There was a leash and collar involved in this case that basically was taken and secured as evidence. And then it really was a lot of man-hours, a lot of researching, using every resource available to us to basically follow every single lead, check out every possible story to either prove or disprove what was believed to have happened at the time, and searching out the piece of information and evidence that would literally break the case. It really was old-fashioned man-hours, nose to the grindstone. We had multiple people working this case at the same time. And so it was a big collaborative effort for the Animal Cruelty Task Force to follow this case all the way through to what's now is charges of animal abuse.
Maybe it was his strong will to survive, or maybe it's the sweetness that comes through in those adorable puppy eyes. But something about Trooper has touched us all. And I know as a dog lover, his story breaks my heart. It makes me so sad, and it makes me so angry that something like this could happen to a defenseless animal. No dog should ever have to suffer like Trooper. What if the Humane Society of Missouri had not been there to rescue him from such a nightmare? The Animal Cruelty Task Force sprung to action to get Trooper the emergency help he needed. Their veterinarians did an amazing job treating him. They saved his precious life. This is Mike Perkins, the director of the Animal Cruelty Task Force. And Mike, I understand as part of the investigation, you went out there with a film crew and you actually shot the route where Trooper was dragged.
We did, and we were able to take very good photos and very good video evidence that will assist in the prosecution, but it also gives us an idea of what Trooper had to go through that 1.4 miles of terror. And
you brought the video with you today, so before we show it, we need to make sure everyone understands that what they're watching is real time, and it's pretty amazing the distance that Trooper was dragged. Over a mile, is that right?
And it was quite a distance. 1.2 miles of it was on the highway itself.
Well, let's watch that right now. And again, as you're watching this, keep in mind, this is real time. And it's going to feel like forever as we're watching this video, but that's how much of a distance it was.
It was. It's a considerable distance, and you don't realize it until you actually have to sit here and watch frame by frame of the truck going down the street and realize that Trooper was behind this vehicle. And at each intersection, at each straightaway, he's being dragged.
I mean, his skin is being burned off, basically.
His skin is being peeled from his body as we speak, going down these side streets.
When you did this, you had to be thinking what this poor dog was going through at the time. What was going through your mind?
My first thought was I was amazed that the dog has even been alive after this had occurred, and I can't even imagine what it would have been like.
I can't even imagine what's going through the mind of someone who did this. It's awful.
It is awful, and it's sad. And here we're starting to enter the highway. So just in the short time that we were talking, we were traveling the city side streets. Now we're getting onto the highway. You're dealing with other traffic. You're dealing with speeds that, according to the victim, according to the witness, was stating that he was traveling at speeds at about 45 to 50 miles an hour. So this is not even the posted speed limit. This is a little bit less than the posted speed limit. And as you can see, this is what Trooper would have seen as he was rolling around on the ground underneath the trailer, having the skin ripped from his body, exposed pieces of his body just hitting the ground and impacting at 50 miles an hour.
And how long is this? This is a few minutes.
This is over 3 minutes of time.
Oh my gosh.
So for this to take place over 3 minutes, and then for him to even be alive at the end of this is just
amazing.
Unbelievable, yes.
And I don't think people understand that when they are able to donate money, this is where it's going. It's helping little dogs like Trooper.
Well, our team is needed 24/7, and we need to be out there all the time. And the donations that we get allow us, in this case, to have an investigator on the scene within minutes of the vehicle pulling off to the side of the road.
So what goes into investigations like this? Why is this money needed? Because it's more than just one person out there asking questions.
It is. We had a whole team amassed to respond to the scene. We had to have investigators canvass the area. Once we found information that was pertaining to the case, we had to then get that information, and it all takes time. And with the pictures, the preparation for court, all the reports that need to be filed, the vehicles that are driven, the fuel and the maintenance that's included in those vehicles, it adds up after a time.
And you were able to find the person responsible for this. Trooper is alive today. I mean, I can't even imagine the miracle workers around that. But all of this money that we're talking about, that is where it's going.
It is, and we could not do this without our donors' help, and it's because of the donors that we're able to lend assistance to the animals like Trooper to give him another chance at life.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, none of that would have been possible for Trooper without your donations. So please call right now. Help us continue to be a lifeline for animals like Trooper and the thousands of others who so desperately need the Humane Society of Missouri. And you may not know this, but the Humane Society of Missouri receives no money from tax dollars. They don't get funding from other animal welfare agencies or the United Way. So whatever amount you can donate is critical to rescuing dogs like Trooper. And just for this program, the generous people at Scottrade will match whatever amount you can give up to $25,000. So your donation will be doubled. Trooper's rescue and medical care cost thousands of dollars, and he is worth every penny. If you think so too, please make a donation right now, and you can call at any time during the program. Volunteers are standing by at our phone bank. Charge your donation on Visa, MasterCard, Discover, or American Express. Our toll-free number is 877-803-0078, or you can make a secure donation on our website, hsmo.org. Help ensure that the Humane Society will be there when dogs like Trooper need them most. Trooper's rescue is just the beginning of his incredible story, so stay tuned for veterinary updates and see how he's becoming the engaging puppy he was meant to be.
Hi, I'm Kevin Klein. I find that the unconditional love that we get from our pets is often the highlight of my day. Turns out that one of the greatest providers of that unconditional love is right in my hometown of St. Louis, Missouri. The Humane Society of Missouri provides homes for thousands of dogs, cats, horses, farm animals, critters of all kind. They do this without any support from the government. They do it through the support of people like you and me. I support the Humane Society of Missouri. I hope you'll do the same. Thank you.
I'm here with Kathy Warnick and Roger Riney, CEO of Scottrade. And as the lead sponsor for this year's Second Chances Telethon, Scottrade is generously matching all donations made during this telethon up to $25,000. And Roger, I have to ask, why is supporting the Humane Society so important to Scottrade?
Well, Virginia, at Scottrade, we truly admire the work of everyone at the Humane Society of Missouri. Without them, so many suffering, neglected animals would have no place to go. I truly have a great appreciation for the vital community services the Humane Society provides to St. Louis and all of Missouri. At Scottrade, everyone is very excited to know that every dollar given during this program will help twice as many animals in need.
And Kathy, what does a match like this mean to the Humane Society of Missouri?
We are so grateful to Roger and to Scottrade for their generosity. By matching donations that come in during this broadcast, they are assuring we can continue to investigate reports of abuse, rescue and treat suffering animals, and help them find forever homes. We are immensely grateful to everyone at Scottrade for literally doubling the donations we received during our telethon.
It is such a wonderful thing Scottrade is doing for the animals here at the Humane Society of Missouri. Call right now or go online and make a secure donation that will be doubled. Thank you so much, Roger, and thank you, Kathy.
Scottrade knows our clients trade and invest their own way.
With Scottrade Smart Text, I can quickly understand my charts and spend more time trading. Their quick trade bar lets my account follow me online, so I can react in real time. Plus, my local Scottrade office is there to help. Because they know I don't trade like everybody. I trade like me. I'm with Scottrade.
Scottrade, voted Best Investment Services Company. At Purina One, we believe small things can make a big difference, like how a little oil from here can be such a big thing in an old friend's life. We discovered that by blending enhanced botanical oils into our food, we can help brighten an old dog's mind so he's up to his old tricks. It's just one way Purina One is making the world a better place, one pet at a time. At Scottrade, our clients trade and invest exactly how they want.
With Scottrade's online banking, I get one view of my bank and brokerage accounts with one login to easily move my money when I need to. Plus, when I call my local Scottrade office, I can talk to someone who knows how I trade. Because I don't trade like everybody. I trade like me. I'm with Scottrade.
Scottrade, awarded 5 stars from Smart Money Magazine.
If a disaster struck and you had to evacuate your home, what is the first thing you would grab? Would you grab your favorite clothes, jewelry, or DVDs? Of course not. You would round up your loved ones and get to a safe place as fast as you could, and you would make sure your pets got out safely with you. But when a 5-alarm fire ripped through an apartment building in the Central West End last July, some pet owners were not able to help their 4-legged friends. Thankfully, the Humane Society of Missouri was first on the scene to rescue as many dogs, cats, birds, and even hamsters as possible. Jasmine Huda has more.
I'm here in the Central West End. Behind me is a building that was home to more than 250 people and 100 animals. Back in mid-July, a 5-alarm fire sent flames shooting into the sky as the 197-unit building burned. As people fled the building, more than 150 firefighters from around St. Louis City and St. Louis County battled the blaze. At the same time, the Humane Society of Missouri was also on the scene, providing rescue services to the pets in need.
It was a very warm, muggy night, July 17th of 2012, and I was told by one of my investigators that we had received a call from the fire department of a big fire at an apartment house at 3949 Lindell. The fire had fully engaged the entire apartment house through the roof line, and at that time the fire department seemed to think that there was approximately 100 animals that was in the building itself due to the fact that there was a pet-friendly environment and a lot of the students there had animals listed on their contracts.
I was out to dinner with 2 of my girlfriends who also live in the building and also have cats. And we were driving back and I got a text message from a friend of mine saying, I hope that building on Lindell wasn't yours. And I said, what do you mean? And he said there was a big fire. So we panicked and we drove as fast as we could. And the first thing that we all thought of was our cats and what was gonna happen to them. And it was just an awful experience. We were hysterical, and just seeing our home just burn in flames.
She had such a hard life, and I'm about to move. I'm moving in like 9 days, and she was gonna have a yard. I just hope she can be okay so she can play in a yard.
I was, near Skinker, and driving home on Forest Park toward Lindell, I could see smoke coming up behind the Chase. Closer I got, the more it seemed like that smoke could be coming from my apartment. And I had visions of, like charging into the building and saving my dog, but of course, I couldn't even get anywhere close to the building. They made me park, and so I parked my car and walked a couple blocks, and I could hear the radio chatter in there and just heard that the fire was not contained, the roof was going, they thought, floors were collapsing, and I was just thinking, where's my dog? And
when I first got there, it was chaos. It was just utter chaos. Streets were blocked off. There was fire department apparatus everywhere. There was ambulances standing by. There were streets blocked off by police lines. Nobody was getting in, nobody was coming out. We had, within a 1 hour time frame, approximately 8 people on the scene at Lindell and Van Eventer. We had our big rescue trailer. We had 2 Sprinter vans. We had 2 cargo vans, 2 pickup trucks. We had crates, we had water, we had all of the equipment that we were going to need in order to receive the animals and then bring them back here on Mackland. At the same time, the people here at the shelter were setting up an emergency shelter. So by 9:30 that night, we were ready for 100+ animals. The entire roof of the structure was fully engulfed. There was smoke everywhere. They were pumping water on this fire from 5 different pumpers. The fire department said that nobody was going in. The fire was still breaking out. They were still trying to get it contained. There was no way that this building was going to be safe. So we waited, and we sat there and we staged for about 6 hours before we were able to get the first dog out.
I heard peripherally that they were trying to look for animals and get them out. So I sent an email to our, emergency person in the building, to look for my cat. And I put out, the Humane Society has a website where you can report a missing cat. So I described him and reported him there.
I remember a lady came up to me saying that her dog was in the building and that she couldn't get into the building to get it because of the fire. And I said, give me your apartment number and your contact information, and we will get it to the right people. And when we find your dog, we will get it back to you.
Nora was brought to our investigators out on the scene, and we placed her in our air-conditioned unit to where she could get a little bit of comfort. Brought her back here to the Humane Society, and we were able to get a line on the owner. Contacted the owner, and the next day the owner came by and picked Nora up. She was in great shape, even though she went through everything that she had gone through.
The person from the Humane Society that was on the scene said that she was there until 3 in the morning, and she remembered when the firemen took him out because they thought that he was so cute, and they were impressed by how big he was. So she said, I know exactly which cat he is, and he's so sweet, and we have him. I was a little worried, actually, that somebody would come and try to adopt him. It was just so emotional for me to see him and see that he was okay in a time when everything was so unstable for me and I basically was homeless, that at least, I could take care of what I needed to do and know that he was in good hands with them. The Humane Society gave me food, a litter box, cat litter, a scoop for the litter box. They gave me some toys for him, really, bowls, everything. They were so nice. After all they did for him and taking care of him for days and everything they gave me, they didn't charge me anything. Even the vet examined him, and there was no cost to me at all, which was really, really nice.
In a situation as this fire, we don't get tax money from federal, state, city, local government. All of this is funded by our donors.
We had 8 people on scene, but we had about 30 people back here at the shelter itself doing emergency setups, waiting for triage, setting up individual kennels. Each kennel had towels, water bowls, food bowls, toys. I mean, everything was set up for these animals when we brought them back. And there's a lot of man hours that are involved in this. And it takes a lot of funding to be able to put on a rescue of this size. And we didn't know exactly how we were going to be coming about and what type of scenario we were going to be going into. So when we do that, we have to plan for the worst and hope for the best.
Wow, I get chills just watching the footage of that fire. And just imagine if it was your own pet, how devastated you would be if you were separated and didn't know if they were okay. Thankfully, the Humane Society of Missouri's disaster response team was there. But without your donations, the happy reunions you just saw would not have been possible.
Please call us right now and donate toward these critical services. I hope you never have to go through something so terrible. When your own pet needs help, the Humane Society of Missouri will be there. Make a gift to ensure that the Humane Society of Missouri can be there when disaster strikes. Whether it's a fire, flood, tornado, or an earthquake, our team is trained to respond to all types of emergencies, but we can't do it without your help.
Your generous donation to the Humane Society of Missouri makes it possible for them to rescue animals in times of disaster. Without your assistance, they couldn't have saved Petya from that horrible fire. Please help them help more animals. Our toll-free number is 877-803-0078, or you can make a secure donation on our website, hsmo.org. Thank you for helping animals in peril when they need it most.
I'm joined now by a very special visitor. This is Pogo. We first told you his story on this telethon in 2010, and his family is here, and they brought him so we could say hello. We're going to chat with them in just a bit, but first, let's take a look back at Pogo's story.
This is Pogo. He has a ripped ear and some broken foot legs.
Okay, how I first met Pogo is I volunteered at the Humane Society. He had 2 broken legs and his shoulders were broken. It had happened to him about 6 months previously, and we felt that he might be unadoptable because he was handicapped.
One of the favorite things he likes to do is chase squeaky toys and chase deers.
I don't think Pogo realizes that he's different from any of the other dogs. When I take him over to my son's house, they have 2 greyhounds, and he thinks he's one of the greyhounds. He runs in the backyard with them.
He loves people, and I never thought a dog could be like this. And my greyhounds, they don't really, like when I call them, they don't really come to me, and they don't really listen to me. And I just really love Pogo because he'll look at me when I'm talking to him. And
He scoots around on his elbows. That's just about how he gets around. He can chase the squirrels, the deer. He actually runs after a ball if you throw a ball or a squeaky toy. He can go up and down steps. He can get on and off the furniture. He's got a nice backyard to run around, and he's got woods to run around in, but we don't like him to go too far in case we lose him. And he has a favorite tree that he likes to lay underneath and sunbathe.
I don't have any friends who don't like Pogo. They're just adore him. And my friends love Pogo because he's so cute and they like the way he walks. How I teach my friends how to play with Pogo is to be very careful with his legs, and also to just to really have fun with him. He's really fragile, so don't be too rough with him.
I think the girls have learned to appreciate Pogo for the fact that he's overcome all the obstacles. He's been abused, mistreated, but he's still loving, affectionate, and fends for himself.
Well, it's so fun to play with Pogo. It's just, he's not like a normal dog that'll just sit there and bark. He just really wants a toy and just really loves playing. Pogo's had a really hard time, like living because he got injured. And why you should adopt a handicapped dog like Pogo? Because dogs like this have gone through like a hard time of their life. So it's like, say this would happen to you and no one would want you anymore.
I think what makes him so special is I think he realizes that we've done something for him, that we've saved him, we're taking care of him, we love him, and he appreciates it. I just think he is just probably one of the biggest assets that we've ever gotten. It makes you appreciate what you have in life when you see this little dog that's struggled through his life and been abused and come out, and he's wonderful. He's a good companion and a good friend. People that know Pogo, that meet Pogo, all say the same thing. They love him, they want to adopt him, they can't have him because he's ours.
Look at Pogo's family now. This is Abby and Emily and Riley, and I guess you have grown a little bit in the last 3-4 years, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about Pogo and what life is like for Pogo now.
Well, Pogo, I would say, has a pretty good life. Well, he's mostly used to chasing deer and hanging out with his other dog friends, and I think he loves it.
Well, I have to know you're what, 14 now?
Yeah.
So when you were younger and you saw Pogo for the first time, what were you thinking?
This dog does not look like a normal dog, and I was thinking, what happened to him and how can I help him? And yeah.
So you didn't think twice about taking him home?
No.
Well, what has he taught you? Can you tell me, Emily?
I think he taught us to keep on moving forward in life and keep on having it good and everything.
Because even though his shoulders were broken, he seems to be able to get around just like any other dog.
Yeah.
And what about you, Riley? What do you like most about Pogo?
Well, I like most about Pogo because he's a very nice dog and he's very kind to me.
Has he taught you how to be kind? Very cute. And so what do you have to say to the people out there? A lot of people don't even realize there are dogs out there like Pogo, and you needed the Humane Society of Missouri to help you with this, didn't you?
Yeah, I would say that there's lots of other dogs out there like Pogo, and I would say to donate to the Humane Society of Missouri because they really need help helping these dogs like Pogo.
And just tell me a little bit about how the Humane Society was able to help Pogo.
Well, they took care of him whenever he was hurt, and they helped with his medical bills and all that. So, yeah, without them, he probably wouldn't be here today.
You heard Pogo's family. Pick up those phones right now, because it's because of your donations that dogs like him can be rescued from heartbreaking situations. Your gift will give a dog just like Pogo a second chance for a loving family. So call right now and donate whatever you can to keep these happy stories coming. And let's check in with our phone bank right now, because some people don't have anyone calling, like Mike right here. So Mike, how has it been going?
It's been going well, but we could use more callers to provide more donations to help our homeless and abused animals find forever homes.
All right, well, why don't we help everybody out? If you are not on the phone right now, raise your hand. Hi. Okay, this is how this works. They have to keep their hands up until you call them. So as soon as they get a phone call, they can put their hands down. But until then, it might start to, oh, there's one right there. We still have 4 people. Call now and be a part of the Humane Society's commitment to ending the heartbreaking cycle of animal abuse. Our toll-free number is 877-803-0078. Volunteers are standing by at our phone bank to take your call, so please make a gift right now, or you can make a secure donation on our website, hsmo.org. Coming up, learn how the Humane Society of Missouri not only comes to the aid of dogs and cats in need, but also horses and farm animals. Stay tuned for the dramatic rescue of Tumbleweed. She was so weak and emaciated, she couldn't even stand. We'll tell you her story and many other incredible rescue tales after the break.
Scottrade knows our clients trade and invest their own way.
With Scottrade Smart Techs, I can quickly understand my charts and spend more time trading. Their quick trade bar lets my account follow me online, so I can react in real time. Plus, my local Scottrade office is there to help, because they know I don't trade like everybody. I trade like me. I'm with Scottrade.
Scottrade, voted best investment services company. At Scottrade, our clients trade and invest exactly how they want.
With Scottrade's online banking, I get one view of my bank and brokerage accounts with one login to easily move my money when I need to. Plus, when I call my local Scottrade office, I can talk to someone who knows how I trade. Because I don't trade like everybody. I trade like me. I'm with Scottrade.
Scottrade, awarded 5 stars from Smart Money Magazine.
On the field, football is my game. But at home, you'll find me playing games of fetch and cuddling with my 4 dogs. They're not just my pets, they're my family. That's why I support the Humane Society of Missouri, so other people can experience the unconditional love pets give. The Humane Society of Missouri is committed to the prevention of cruelty, abuse and neglect of animals through their Animal Cruelty Task Force, adoption and veterinary medical centers, and humane education programs. They go above and beyond to ensure the well-being of animals, big and small, and to strengthen the bond between humans and animals. Help me help the Humane Society of Missouri reach its goals. Make a donation to help animals in need get a second chance for a wonderful life.
You may not know this, but the Humane Society of Missouri helps more than just dogs, cats, puppies, and kittens in need. They also have a state-of-the-art horse and farm animal rescue facility. Longmeadow Rescue Ranch is home to more than 300 abandoned, abused, and neglected horses, goats, chickens, pot-bellied pigs, and even llamas. When Humane Society of Missouri rescuers found Tumbleweed, a severely malnourished Palomino mare, they feared they were too late. Too weak to stand on her own, the Humane Society's Animal Cruelty Task Force gently loaded her into a sled, and she was rushed to an animal hospital for help. And Tumbleweed was not alone. 15 other horses and 2 donkeys had no food to eat, no water to drink, and no protection from the freezing January cold. They all needed help, and it couldn't wait another minute. Watch this amazing story of how the Humane Society of Missouri helped not 1, but 18 horses and donkeys in just one day.
We received a call from the Animal Cruelty Task Force of the Humane Society that they needed our assistance at Longmeadow because they had an immediate rescue with a large number of horses, and the Sheriff's Department was asking for their assistance. We had to gather the whole team together. We had about a dozen employees that went to the rescue, as well as 4 trailers to take such a large number of horses. The site was a very remote property. There was no grass on the ground. Every branch that you could tell an animal could reach had been stripped of its bark and its leaves. And it just was a very scary and dismal place. I mean, the number of bones and deceased animals that were at different stages, and I feel horrible for them living amongst that. There was a small pen that had a young horse that was down, and that was Tumbleweed. It wasn't obvious at first that she was even alive because she wasn't moving. As we got closer, you could see there were bones from deceased horses in the pen and around her. You could tell she'd been thrashing and trying to get up and just didn't have enough strength to get up. There was a bowl of feed that was a poor quality of grain that was outside of her reach, where she couldn't even reach it. There was a kind of dirty pan of water that was also a distance from her that she couldn't get to. And the other horses and equine were just kind of milling around, and they were scared. I mean, you could tell that, they weren't happy where they were living and they needed to go to a better place. Our first plan of action with Tumbleweed is to see if we could help her stand. Because ideally we would get her standing and get that blood flowing back to her organs and her legs. So we tried to help her, and there were about 8 people attempting to lift a pretty light horse. She was not even 200 pounds. But because she had no muscle left, she wasn't putting any effort forth anymore. Like, I truly believe she had given up at that point. She would just collapse when we would lift her. So the next step was that we needed to put her on what we call a glide. So we positioned her on the glide, which is kind of like a big sled with straps, and we secured her to that and used that to slide her over to the trailer, so then we could actually pull her up onto the trailer. And then she took the trip to the vet clinic laying down since she couldn't stand. So we take her off the glide so she doesn't stay strapped to that for the trip. It's the safest way to move a downed horse. She had to be kept in a sling because she couldn't stand on her own. It's a significant amount of cost to have a horse at that level of care at the vet clinic. And this is Tumbleweed now. So if you look at the pictures that you've seen of how horrible she looked before, it's just unbelievable that this is the same horse just 11 months later. She has gained almost 400 pounds from when she came in. She's also a growing horse, so she's going to keep getting bigger. But she was a couple hundred pounds underweight. And so as you can see now, she feels much better. She's full of spunk and energy and loves to get out and run around with her friends out in the paddock. A rescue like Vernon County is a very costly thing for a rescue like us. Just Tumbleweed, who was one horse out of that rescue, and she did require the most intensive treatment at the vet clinic, but her care was $7,000 plus for just that initial 2-week time. So you factor in each of the other horses that took at least $1,000 for their initial rehabilitation and care that they needed to be caught up on, like teeth floating and treating for parasites. And so these large rescues and the small ones and all these horses that we come in, it really adds up. And that's why it's so important for us to have people to support our cause and support us to be able to rescue more horses from horrific conditions. The Vernon County horses are all doing great in their rehabilitation. They are all up for adoption. We've had many of them that have already been placed in homes. Some of them, like Tumbleweed, took a full 6 months plus to be rehabilitated. So many of them were just put up for adoption within the last few months. Some are in training here at the ranch with our horse trainers, so they're being trained for riding to help make them more adoptable, and have all made a very great recovery, and we're very optimistic about placing them in new homes. The adoption for the equine may not be as expensive as you think that it is. The adoption fees range anywhere from a couple $100 up to maybe $1,000 for some of the horses that have some more training and maybe for more of a beginner rider. But we also have many that all the way from babies like Bina here up to an older horse that would be good as kind of a trail riding companion. We do have the option here at Long Meadow as well, where if you choose to adopt a certain horse, you can also have our horse trainer here train the horse for you and even with you. So if you come out and take lessons with the horse, it's really an ideal situation to help find that perfect match to take home.
When you think about what Tumbleweed looked like when she was rescued and how beautiful and strong she is now, it is hard to believe it's the same horse. So weak she couldn't stand, and now she's healthy enough to run and play. She has a great life at Long Meadow Rescue Ranch, and that's all because of you and the donations you've made to help animals just like her. Even if you're not a horse lover, just take a second to think about how bad it could have been if the Humane Society of Missouri had not been there to rescue Tumbleweed. No one should feel that kind of neglect. No horse or donkey or cat or dog should starve to death in the freezing cold. Sadly, it happens too often to those loving, loyal creatures. But with the Humane Society of Missouri's help, there is hope for the neglected and abused. So please pick up the phone right now and make a gift that will go directly to saving animals from these awful situations. It's because of generous donors like you that Tumbleweed was able to be rescued and rehabilitated by expert caretakers. Every dollar you contribute to the Humane Society makes it possible to provide a second chance for animals like Tumbleweed. And Scottrade will match that donation so you can help even more defenseless horses, dogs, and cats who need you right now.
Thanks very much to our generous Second Chances Telethon sponsors, Scottrade, Purina One Beyond, HeartGuard Plus, and Frontline Plus. Please support the products and services of these generous companies who are helping abused and homeless animals every day.
I'm a proud Missourian and an even prouder animal advocate. My 5 dogs give me great joy, and growing up in a rural community, I have always been surrounded by horses and farm animals too. I believe animals should be treated with special care and respect. That's why, as Miss Missouri USA, one of my goals is to work with the Humane Society of Missouri to support their efforts to rescue, rehabilitate, and find loving forever homes for homeless and neglected animals of all sizes. In addition to helping domestic pets in need, the Humane Society of Missouri also rescues horses and farm animals who have suffered abuse. They take care of them here in Union, Missouri at the Long Meadow Rescue Ranch, one of the most comprehensive horse and farm animal rehabilitation centers in the United States. On any given day, as many as 300 animals from throughout Missouri call Long Meadow their safe haven and are nurtured back to health so they are ready for adoption. Please help the Humane Society of Missouri continue giving animals like Tumbleweed the royal treatment so they can find loving homes. Donate now.
On a very hot day in June, the Animal Cruelty Task Force received a call about a dog wandering the streets of North St. Louis. He was all alone and badly injured. Rescuers found Sunny, a 5-month-old boxer puppy, whimpering in an alleyway with gruesome burns covering most of his body. And no one knew if the burns were intentional or just a horrible accident. All they knew for certain was that Sunny needed help, and he could die if he didn't get it. We're joined again by Jasmine Huda, who is at the scene where the Animal Cruelty Task Force first found Sunny.
The Humane Society of Missouri's Animal Cruelty Task Force came here to North St. Louis to rescue a 5-month-old boxer puppy who suffered injuries to most of his body. The source of his injuries is still unknown. At just 5 months old, little Sunny was left all alone, whimpering in pain and wandering the streets with no food, no water, and no shelter from the blistering summer heat. Luckily, someone called the Humane Society of Missouri, where Sunny could get the help he desperately needed. Leslie Waldschmidt, you are an animal cruelty investigator with the Humane Society. You played a key role in Sunny's rescue, and this is the neighborhood where he was found.
Yep, that's right. We found him right over here on the sidewalk, just about where that pole is.
What did he look like?
He was just laying there and not really wanting to move, probably because it hurt.
You couldn't pick him up? I imagine that was an issue.
We got, some towels. He actually started to lunge, to nip at you because it hurt so bad. That was his way of telling us it hurt. So we got a big towel and picked him up, and he was vocalizing, in a lot of pain.
When we got the call in for Sunny, he was originally called in as a hit by car. I arrived at the property where he had last been seen. As I approached Sunny, it was very clear that he had not been hit by a car. He had injuries over probably 3/4 of his body that were consistent with burns. I was able to secure him with a towel, cover him, and get him safely transported to our facility, where we immediately started a triage of his injuries and cleaning them and starting the process of getting him better.
That degree of tissue damage from a burn and that extensive an area of the body would put him at great risk from just going into shock in the near future and having severe infections as a long-term consequence of what we were dealing with. As time goes on, we've taken care of infection problems, we've relieved his pain, we've been continually treating those wounds, but there's also the issue of behavior. He ended up spending a total of 3 months with us. So addressing that is also part of what the Veterinary Medical Center does in coordination with the other specialty areas in the Humane Society.
We received so many calls about Sunny. Even the next day, people were calling first thing in the morning. They were touched by his story.
I saw Sonny's story on the news. The report was that someone had set him on fire and then he was found wandering around. There's something special about rescue dogs. I think they really appreciate having a good home. We have a border collie and Sophie is 5. Lily's 15, she's a little toy poodle. And then we have JD, who is 17, who is a lab mix, and they're all rescue dogs.
I can remember when Susan first called, she was so concerned about Sonny's care and she wanted him to have all the best. And she called us every day just to check on him and see how he was doing. Well, our adoption process tries to tailor the animals to the families. We want somebody that's going to be able to take care of that animal and that the animal will fit into their lifestyle. Certainly with Sonny, he had some special needs. He had some issues that still needed to be taken care of even after he had gone to his new home. So we're looking for somebody in that instance that can take care of those issues, has some experience with special needs dogs, because this is a long-term process. They don't just mend and are able to continue. They have ongoing issues that need to be cared for. You know, as we went through, I mean, there was a lot of wonderful people that were interested in Sonny, and it was hard to choose the right family, but I think we found Susan and her husband were going to be the best fit for Sonny in the long run.
The first time I met Sonny, I mean, I just immediately fell in love with him. When he smiles, he's got sort of an underbite. It's the cutest thing. We introduced him to each dog separately, and in a couple hours they were running and playing, and by Sunday they were just all the best friends. I mean, it couldn't have turned out better. I was concerned that we would have to really pay attention to the skin, but Dr. Swartz, who was the doctor that took care of Sonny while he was at the Humane Society, did a wonderful job. He really has no lasting effects other than having no hair on the part of the skin that's scarred. But that doesn't stop him from being just a normal little puppy right now. We walk in the park every day. We play outside. I try not to dwell on what has happened to Sonny. He's happy now and just move forward from there.
Sonny's rescue was one of the most heart-wrenching situations we encountered in 2012. The images and video you just saw cannot do justice to the terrible condition he was in when we found him. Sonny's veterinary care and rehabilitation took months and cost thousands of dollars. We could not have given him his second chance without your support. Thanks to your generous donations, the pain Sonny felt was only temporary. He was able to heal and have a wonderful life. Today, he's in a loving forever home where nothing bad will ever happen to him again. You can make that possible for many other animals when you call right now with your donation. A $75 donation pays for a tank of gas to get rescuers out to emergency situations all over Missouri. A $100 donation pays for veterinary treatment for 2 abused dogs. And just for this program, Scottrade is matching every dollar you donate up to $25,000. Call right now and make a difference in the lives of twice as many animals. Charge your donation on Visa, MasterCard, Discover, or American Express. Our toll-free number is 877-803-0078. Or you can make a secure donation on our website, hsmo.org.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Coolidge. I'm a foster parent for the Humane Society of Missouri. The foster program at the Humane Society of Missouri is to give puppies, dogs, kittens, cats, critters a second chance. Fostering animals benefits the animal by the interaction. The socialization is critical for the animals. We work with them to try to potty train them, take them out regularly, so that when they do get here to the shelter and they're ready for adoption, they're easier to adopt out. They've learned some manners. Maybe they've learned to sit. This little guy here asleep on my lap is Tiger. As you can see, he has little tiger markings on him. He is a foster dog in the foster program, and he'll be available for adoption in the next couple weeks.
Coming Coming up next, a very cute kitten can count on 8 more lives thanks to the Humane Society rescuers. Stay tuned for the story of Gemma, a kitten who fell 10 feet into a construction trench and was pulled to safety by the Animal Cruelty Task Force.
One of the most responsible things you can do for your pet is to microchip them. This quick, painless procedure is one of the best ways to bring them home if they're ever lost. To celebrate the 1-year anniversary of STL Lost Pets, the Humane Society of Missouri, APA of Missouri, and St. Louis County Animal Care are offering microchips for just $19.95 per pet. Find locations, appointment times, and information at stlostpets.org.
We've all heard the saying, a cat has 9 lives, and thanks to the Humane Society of Missouri, one lucky kitten can count on 8 more. Gemma was only 3 weeks old when she fell nearly 10 feet into a cold, wet construction trench. She was scared, helpless, and her body temperature was dropping fast. This adorable, fragile girl was in danger of losing her life. But thanks to the quick and heroic actions of Humane Society rescuers, Gemma was pulled to safety and given her second chance.
There we go. There you go. That's good. Oh, perfect. Good girl.
My cat's a star. That's what I think. My cat's a star. And she definitely has that mentality, that diva mentality, I think.
We first were introduced to Gemma at the Humane Society. We had gone there, my daughter had lost her cat, and we didn't ever think she was gonna come back. And while I was talking to Vince at the Humane Society, my daughter was back there without my knowledge, looking at the adoption kitties. And as soon as I was done, she asked me to come back, and I laid eyes on Gemma and totally fell in love.
First, the markings. She's a very beautiful cat, lots of 3 different colors, white, black, and tan. Very pretty, long fur. I had always wanted a long-haired cat. Was kind of nervous about getting them because I hear they shed a lot. Saw her, and she was jumping on the cage, holding on to the bars of the cage and kind of pulling herself up and jumping around, and definitely the grabbing of the cage is what caught my attention. I really liked that. It was kind of a plea of take me home. So we did.
Gemma was just all over that cage, bouncing her head, and she was so little, and that face is exactly what won us over. That cute little face.
They had found her in a trench, apparently. She was starved, near death. They had to give her oxygen when she was brought in, and she had cysts on her belly. They had to do surgery on that. And to me, it makes me love her a lot more. I see a strong fighter in that, and every day I see it. You know, she's kind of aggressive with the older cats, so I think that kind of goes in with the history that she's been through. My son, she loves. She does sleep with him at night on occasion, go in there and see them kind of curled up in the bed together, and she just loves the kids, and the kids love her.
Not only were we fortunate enough to adopt Gemma, but shortly after we adopted her, I had gotten a call from the Vice President of Communications at the Humane Society asking us if we would be interested in Gemma being one of the poster children for the Humane Society, and I was all for it. By then, we had her for a little bit and knew that she was a diva, and she already thought she was a star, so there was no question in my mind that that was the right thing to do. We had the photographers come to our house, and did they have their work cut out for them?
She was running all over the place, lots of energy, crazy, excited.
She was a wild child that day. And I think that one of the gentlemen that was here even said toward the end, after we were trying to get all the pictures, he said, "Have you seen The Exorcist?" And that really tickled me because she was just being Gemma.
She's very high maintenance as compared to the other cats. You know, wants her bowl filled when she wants it. And if it's not, we're not a happy camper.
When they came to take her pictures, they told me they would send some. And when we got them, I just melted. We had the single shot of her, which went on the van. We had shots with my mother and with my grandkids and with my daughter. And we have some of them around the house. We were just so proud.
The best part about Gemma is her energy and her activity level. It's amazing and wonderful to watch every day, and she can turn around and be such a stinker, but at the same time be sweet and loving. And that's what I love about her. Love her energy. Keeps me going.
When poor little Gemma fell down into that trench, it could have been the end for her. Too weak to get out on her own and too small to make much of a sound. She really is one lucky cat. She is extra lucky that the Humane Society of Missouri came to her rescue. They have an expertly trained rescue team, and they have a highly skilled veterinary staff who got her the emergency treatment she needed. But none of it comes free. Without your donations, the Humane Society of Missouri could not afford to be there for animals like Gemma. Her rescue and care cost more than $1,000. But when you see how happy she makes her new family, you just know she's worth it. All of the animals saved by the Humane Society are worth it. So please pick up the phone right now and make a donation that could save a life. Your generous donation of $100 pays for 10 days of shelter care for a homeless cat or dog. And just for this program, Scottrade is going to match that donation. Make the call right now and help twice as many animals. Volunteers are standing by at the phone bank, ready to help you make your gift. Our toll-free number is 877-803-0078, or you can make a secure donation on our website, hsmo.org. After a quick break, we'll take a behind-the-scenes look at a doggy photo shoot. Learn about the important role good photography plays in getting pets adopted right after this.